your joke gift cred.
Yeah.
For the history of our show, the switcheroo bit is
I got to be more
done.
than a one-trick pony.
Yeah. You can't keep using those. So
Well, I can honestly say that those gifts were the best of Las Vegas.
yeah. Stay tuned. We're taping a double
Next week.
Oh man, I have thoughts.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. This is my first time recording an intro.
You're doing great.
And now, broadcasting from the churn, that guy's Dr. Jim Jobin. I'm Nick Tangeman. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
Ho, ho, ho! Happy Hanukkah, boys and girls. Excited to celebrate the holidays with you. We just did our annual Pod Therapy gift exchange, and the gifts went better, I'd say, this episode.
Probably the best gifts we've ever done.
Yeah. Actually, these went well. Like
Yeah,
that was nice. That was just nice gifts.
We toned it down.
We really did. If you listen to the show for a long time, you're like, man, these guys bust each other's balls a lot. Like last episode, where I probably was pretty close to quitting again. Tune in to patreon.com/therapy because it was a heartwarming gift exchange where I think we gave each other sensible gifts. They were nice.
Very reasonable.
They were very reasonable. Who doesn't need edible underwear, you know?
No.
At some point, you want that. So
I mean, they were the best gifts of
in a
Las
city,
Vegas.
in a metropolitan area,
Easily.
you might say.
Best of Las Vegas.
One could
Easily.
say.
Easily best of Las Vegas.
Oh, we got to save that for the next show. So happy holidays to all of you guys, and hoping as we get to the end of the year that you are safe and healthy and that your families are enjoying this season. Also, don't forget, Pod Therapy, we like to organize ourselves into seasons, mostly by sheer stupid luck. Yeah, when we started this show...
we didn't think there'd be more than one.
Right, we called it season 1, felt like there was meaning to that. Yeah. Figured if we just counted numbers, we'd be sad. So our show is in seasons, and this episode is damn near the end of season 3. We have one more episode ahead of us. But if you would like to sign our yearbook, it is pinned for free out in the open in the public at patreon.com/therapy. Even if you're not a Patreon person or whatever, you can jump in there. You can leave us comments, and we love to find out how this project has made a difference, if it has at all. We love hearing about people's favorite memories, their favorite moments from the season, inside jokes, or just things where they're like, hey, you answered my letter. Thanks for that. Patreon.com/therapy. Sign our yearbook. And we're getting close to the end of the season, and you can look forward to some fun stuff. At the end of the season, we always reflect on our goals, how we did for the year, and when we start a new season, we always start with that January emphasis of thinking about the future and things that are coming up. So great time of year to share the podcast with somebody else because it's going to be a great time to launch into the next season where we have our new goals and new goals for the show. And so lots of fun stuff going on. So stay tuned for that. And
if you
also,
feel like the show hasn't made any difference to you at all, do me a favor. And
Yeah.
just sign into that yearbook and express that as well.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Yeah.
If you listen to this out of hate.
There's somebody is. Yeah, somebody listens to this out of spite. Somebody listens to this as their pre-workout.
Yeah.
They're just the whole drive to the gym. They're just punching the ceiling of their car. Just like, all right, let's go.
I'm perfectly happy to hear about that as well.
That's somebody. Absolutely. So thanks to all of you who joined us in this season. A lot of you guys joined us during our Reddit annual thing that we do in the summertime. And so we're glad to have so many new friends that are part of our community. And remember, we really like getting into knowing you and finding out about your lives. So patreon.com/therapy. There's always a conversation about every episode, an extra hour of content that goes with every episode. It also comes out a day earlier. And then we also love getting to know people on our social media. If you use Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, holler at us. We're just at PodTherapyGuys or at PodTherapy on most of those channels.
Give us a holla.
Holla at your boys. Because, we love making friends. So, we love knowing what's going on in people's lives. And if you haven't gotten around to writing us a question, get it to us, podtherapyguys@gmail.com. New year, new you. So shoot us those questions and we'll take them on with you and we'll do a better life. So one day at a time. But speaking of questions, even though we are at the holiday time of the show and holiday time of the season, the questions keep on a-coming. So let's break it down. First question, what to do when communication breaks down? Hey, Jacob.
Get a new phone.
Switch to T-Mobile.
Next question.
Man, we're nailing these today.
Knocking them out.
We're getting really good at this. Hey, Jacob, Jim, and Nick. You guys are amazing, and your podcast is my absolute favorite.
Oh, good.
That's awesome of you to say. Buckle up, gents. I'm a wife, mother of 2, and psych student in my 30s who came back to school when my kids started school. I'm happily married to the father of my children. We both came from stable homes and both have 2 siblings. We are a pretty close family, live fairly close, and generally have a lot of contact with each other. The exception to this rule is my brother's wife in her late 20s. She has been in and around the family for 10 plus years. She is cold, combative, manipulative, and what a judgy parent might describe as a spoiled brat last born who has never heard the word no before. It would
that's how they might be described.
Yeah, I mean, somebody might say that. Not the writer, of course. Writer takes the high ground. It would appear that she may actually hate my parents, my sister, and I. Despite using my parents as an ATM machine to fund her lavish lifestyle when my brother's upper middle class job can't get there, she refuses to work. For the entire duration she has had contact with my family, she behaved like those pretty mean girls portrayed in movies. I can only imagine that she is amazing in bed, as that is the only explanation for my brother staying with somebody.
Oh, no, she definitely is.
who openly treats him like he is the laziest creature alive when I don't know many that work as hard as he does or is as kind and thoughtful. The biggest problem for me is that every time we have contact, she is rude, cruel, and unkind about my husband, my children, and myself. For diplomacy's sake and trying to not to engage and spoil the event, we brush it off or ignore it. But when she leaves, we get on WhatsApp and we message each other that she is so awful. And what does it say here? We get on WhatsApp messaging asking why we are so awful to her and why do we treat her so badly. But as soon as you call her out on her crap, she will blatantly lie that her bad behavior never happened. She has spread some awful rumors about me in particular. But when confronted with all the evidence, she still stands by her original lie, and everyone else is lying to make her look bad. What do I do when all the communication is broken down completely? I don't want to lose my brother and the baby she's pregnant with. For the sake of diplomacy, specifically so I don't lose my little brother, I am always the one to put on my big girl pants and include her in family events and try to be my best and warm to her when I see her, in the hopes that if I give grace, then hopefully it will come back. So far, 10 plus years in, not paying any dividends. If a client came into my office with this story, my advice would be to minimize contact. Be mindful of the fact that she has lots of her own unresolved traumas and that she is taking it out on my family because she knows she can get away with it because we practice diplomacy as a religion. My mother can play devil's advocate better than Satan's lawyer, which is entirely where my empathy comes from because it has absolutely made me see the hurt people slogan, and there is always a piece of the puzzle that we don't have access to. But I'm not the client, and I don't have the emotional distance to be objective. She came for my family. It's hard not to want her head on a spike. My dad says you can't hide an asshole forever. Sooner or later it will fart. But the problem is, that's a great dadism, but the problem is, while I don't want to be the one to tear the family apart and lose my brother and this baby, I don't want my children to grow up watching her behavior as acceptable ways to act and treat people. Please help me parent the situation to make sure that I do right by my kids, but that I also don't give them residual trauma from them watching their aunt hurt me. But please give me the tools to deal with this however I can. My intrusive thoughts, suggestions are sadly all illegal. Love, warmth, and light, an adult from Africa.
Yeah,
that's
all
cool.
right.
I always love finding out
listener from Africa.
people listen
That's
to
cool.
us in Africa. That's great. I'm aware of the continent
What
of Africa.
what state is Africa in, Jim?
Yeah, it's west of LA. So
Right.
somewhere around there. Eventually, you swing around far enough, you'll find
If
it.
you hit Malibu, you've gone
Too far. That's east of Malibu, west of LA. Yeah.
Okay. Good question.
It is a good one.
So there's a couple different things here. Let's start. Can we start first off with the parenting piece? Because I think that was kind of the main question. Because obviously our writer knows what we're going to say to some extent.
Sure.
Because she already answered the question.
Yeah, if it was my client,
Exactly.
here's what I'd say.
This is what I would do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Remember that they're also
There you go.
broken, and that's why they're doing this. Hurting people hurt people.
So we can just skip that bullshit.
Yeah, now we can just get to the petty shit.
Now, as far as the parenting of the kids, I wouldn't be too concerned because I get the what the writer's concern is my kids are watching this woman basically bully me, and I don't want them to be traumatized from that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that could happen, but I think that's less likely to happen. I think what's more likely to happen is I think the kids will see that, and they know your character, right? They know who you are. So they're not going to be judging you any differently.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What they're going to be doing, I think, is they're going to be looking at this person who's attacking their mother, and they're going to, now that in itself, I suppose, could be a little traumatic in a sense.
It's unpleasant.
But I think they're
Did
more
you say the
resilient.
ages of the kids?
No.
Okay.
No.
I get the impression they're younger.
Yeah. But I think they look at that, and I think this could be a good example for them of how not to be, how not to treat people.
Yeah.
You know, and that could be a way to kind of phrase that if they ever want to talk about it and say, yeah. When Aunt's whatever talks, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay, so we don't want to treat other people that way.
Right, I don't like that. Which it comes up all the time around this time of year, right? Because people start talking about Thanksgiving.
This is a good Christmas.
It really is. Yeah, you start interacting with
about.
people. And I have patients that bring this up all the time where they're like, oh, these family members are really toxic. Here's how they treat us. Here's how they treat my spouse. And like the thing that they often find themselves struggling with is, I don't want my children to see this behavior and have it influence them and normalize that. I don't like it. This is icky. And the advice I give to those patients is exactly what you just said to the writer, Adult from Africa, which is actually appreciate with me for a second that you and I have both met assholes in life. And neither of us have been inclined to imitate that, right? You do get impressions from your very close ecosystem, right? Your parents, your siblings.
Sure.
Yes. They will have an imprinting effect on you, and it will shape your personality, the way you treat other people, what you think is normal. The aunt is not part of the inner ecosystem. She's a guest to that ecosystem, and it will always seem strange. If you grow up with a mother like Adult from Africa, who's like a very warm, diplomatic, generous, gregarious, empathetic person, when you meet Aunt is going to stand out like a mustard sugar cookie among other well-meaning sugar cookies that do not taste of mustard.
Patreon.com/therapy.
Check it out. Cookie Roulette, which I really want to title the episode in Patreon. Cookie Roulette feels right.
I think that's fine.
It's a solid
It's also
title.
a good bit.
Just a solid bit. But yeah, like that's going to stand out so much. And so a lot of parents are like, oh man, I really don't want my kids to be influenced by this grandparent or by this uncle or this aunt or whatever. I don't want that to happen. And I always reassure them, if it's icky to you, it will be icky to them. Right? And over time, as they grow up, teenagers come of age with this awareness of others. They can detect an asshole. They can see them. It is unpleasant. And that person will be universally unpleasant and awkward. Your children will be much more like you than the aunt. And therefore, they will also find it unpleasant. And what will happen is, one by one, family members will create distance with that very sour mustard sugar cookie of a human being. And they will continue to be isolated. Either they will learn or they will be more alone.
There is this concept in psychology where children, as they grow up, they compare everybody they meet to their parents.
Sure, yeah, that's
kind of
their baseline. Yeah, it's a default.
Because
and that doesn't mean that they like honor their parents. They don't look at their parents like heroify them. Like, oh, they're great. A lot of times you look at your parents and you meet other people and you're like, oh, my parents are train wrecks.
Yeah,
other people are normal.
Yeah, and I mean, because it's like your caregivers are the ones who love, support you, they protect you.
Right.
And so when you meet new people...
Well, and you know them better than you know anyone else.
Exactly. Right. And so subconsciously, when you meet a new person, you kind of look for traits that are similar so that you can determine whether or not you can trust this person.
Right.
Which is why people who grew up in abusive homes oftentimes have a difficulty identifying high-risk individuals.
Right.
Because when your abuser is also your protector, it makes those boundaries really difficult to see.
Right. You don't notice the difference because you grew up
they all look
inside
the
of that.
same.
Right. And this goes back to, and this is now getting a little off the letter, but I think it's still really pertinent. People will ask, like, why is it that, if somebody has like daddy issues, they're like dating really toxic people. What it is that you're attracted to familiarity because that identity, that personality, or those toxic traits make sense to your brain to some extent. Like your brain doesn't look at those and doesn't know what to do with them. Your brain looks at them and goes, oh yeah, I've met this kind of person before. They're charming in their own way. And it overlooks all the toxic red flags and just goes ahead and relives and re-traumatizes really bad situations. That's not going to happen to you, Ryder, because you're not the aunt. The aunt's horrible, and their child is probably going to be influenced by the aunt, and that's going to be yucky. And like that's their family, their reality, their truth. Your kids are going to be safe from it.
Any advice on how to maintain a diplomatic relationship for the brother's sake?
I mean, it sounds like Ryder's already doing that.
I think you're doing great, Ryder.
Yeah, seriously.
Everything that you say in your letter, I think you can take the opportunity with your kids and just use this as an education moment.
There it is.
That's a word.
Education.
You could use this as an education moment with the kids and just like, hey, you're going to run into assholes in your life. This is how I deal with them.
Right.
This is, I'm kind to this person because it is a human being and they deserve, respect and kindness from me.
Right.
And that's how I choose to deal with people. Not everyone chooses to deal with other people in that regard.
Right.
Your aunt is someone who has chosen not to deal with me in that regard. I want you to know that I'm aware of it. And depending on the age of your kids, that's going to dictate a lot of this conversation. But I want you to know that I'm aware of it and that I can deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine. Don't worry about me, kids. I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then as far as the rest of it goes, do whatever you want.
Right.
If you want to include her, because you said that you reach out and include her in functions and everything, if you want to do that, cool.
Right.
If you don't want to do that, cool.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the rest of your family, because you all get on WhatsApp and everything and kind of commiserate after the fact. It sounds like the rest of the family is going to be on board with whatever you want to do with that.
Right. Right.
And so, I mean, like, I really think that you're doing fine with this.
Yeah. Oh, you're already doing so much. But the thing that I would throw in there too, remember that diplomacy is the gift you give yourself. Like that's really all it is. I mean, nobody ever gets anything back. Like there is no return on investment. You talked about getting your dividends. There is no return on investment for vitriol, right? It's the old adage about don't wrestle with a pig in the mud. You just get dirty and the pig loves it, And it's like toxic people love, especially this kind of person who's like loving to be the victim, loving to have the narrative be about how everybody's not kind to them and how like none of it actually exists and like vilifying others. Don't give her that. Like, why? What possible benefit are you going to have at it? She's better at being a toxic person than you are.
I mean, I have a relative that does this. I have a relative on my mom's side that does this, and she's invited to everything.
Sure.
And sometimes she shows up to things, sometimes she doesn't. And it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. But you keep the diplomacy.
And when she shows up, oftentimes she's not a terribly pleasant person to be around. Sometimes she's perfectly fine, which I'm sure. In this case, I'm sure that's the case in sometimes.
All humans.
I mean, like there are going to be days where she's having a great day, and lucky you happen to be there on a good day,
right?
But I mean, like it's you can't do anything about it. If you want to cut her out of your life, then that means you're cutting your brother out of your life as well. It sounds like you don't want that to happen, which I get. That's fine. So. Yeah, I would say just let it go. It sounds like you're just kind of doing water off a duck's back at this point.
Yeah, you're already good at that.
I would just keep on with that.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly
and don't feel obligated,
right,
to do anything for her.
No.
Yeah.
Don't feel obligated to include her. That would be my only advice. There would be like.
I understand the political ramifications that if you want your brother to be at something, you have to invite his wife. But
no. Yeah, you're not inviting her.
Sure, yeah.
But you extend the invitation to your brother and family.
Right.
If there's a family event, you extend the invitation to the family.
Right.
But you're not sending a special a special little card just to your sister-in-law saying, "Oh, it'd really be great if you."
You're not going out of your way to isolate. And the other thing is this, Ryder. I think that you benefit from the fact that the secret's out. Like everybody knows. And that's the thing. Like when everybody knows that this person is bad and nobody enjoys their company and they all pity the brother and they just look at her like, wow, this person is gross, then you have that joint understanding. So you don't have to feel like, oh my God, she's getting away with it. Oh man, I'm the only one that sees it. I need to call her out. No, you don't. Nope. Everybody sees it.
And that is one other thing. don't feel compelled to be that to be the spirit of justice.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't. No, there's no such thing.
You
Don't do that.
you don't need to punish anything. You don't need to
Nope.
punish this behavior. That's not your responsibility.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
And you're
it.
not doing your brother any favors by
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
into her grill. You're just making his life worse.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got his own reasons. Even if he's getting beat up, like you said, maybe she's great in the sack. It could be that she's having a child with him. Could just be that, you know, at the end of the day, as miserable as he is, he has his own value system and
Yeah.
he chooses love, and this is how he feels.
He might just not want to get back into the dating game.
We have to give him
Who
the
knows?
dignity
I
of
get
choice.
that.
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
the dignity of choice. Lots of people have their reasons. And from the outside looking in, it's like, wow, this doesn't make any sense. But for their perspective and their lived history, it does. So,
Well, and the other thing too is I think, you know, when you really push back on people, they dig themselves into their position more than they
always.
move.
Yeah,
So
always.
if he's chosen a side, he's chosen his wife. So
Yeah.
the more you push him, the more he's going to dig into that
you
position.
only lose. And I don't hear
Right.
the writers saying they're going to put him into that
Yeah.
ultimatum scenario. But yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
play politics. Play politics. Again, diplomacy is the gift you give yourself. Everybody in the audience understands this person's horrible. They are the bad guy in the movie.
Right.
So just carry on and be this like glowing good human. And like as your children, you know, grow up, they're like, why are you nice to Aunt so-and-so? She's horrible. Well, kids, yeah, she's pretty difficult, huh? That's not fun. But you know what? I like to be a nice person.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important for our whole family. I want
And
people to always
she's-
feel welcome.
And she's family. You know, she's married to my brother.
There
she
you go.
she is the mother of my niece / nephews.
Yep.
And you know,
I'm not ignoring it. I'm just I'm fine with being tolerant.
Yeah.
Right. And if somebody's impolite to me, then I distance myself. And here's how you demonstrate
Yeah.
what to do.
I
with an
don't
impolite person.
need anything from her.
Yep. you
I
just-
don't need kindness. I don't need anything from her. I get you know, I get kindness from people that
Right.
that do love and care about me,
Yep.
and I'm doing just fine.
And then you show the kids how to shoot a sucker punch right to the chin. You want to hit
Right.
them right on the button. Okay, you hit them on that button, down they go. Knees buckle on
Yeah.
the ground. That's how you win it. Fast and Furious, writer.
Okay.
Great letter. All-star response,
I got
guys.
nothing else.
I think we
Good job.
crushed it. So feel free to write us and let us know about the rains down in Africa. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about
Great.
getting ghosted by your therapist. You're listening to Pod
You ever
Therapy.
been ghosted by your audio guy?
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, and Ben Stanley. Would you like to sponsor the show? Become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. We are on our, second or third week now of Manu's Trivia, and it's only getting harder.
Oh yeah.
All right, here's our question. Thank you, Manu. In 2021, Blue Christmas falls on December 17th.
Okay.
What does this holiday mark?
Oh, Christ.
Oh, he
Blue
got
Christmas.
it. He got it.
I got
it. Okay, is it A, part of Western Christian traditions, marks the longest night of the year, focusing on expression of grief for those who've lost loved ones and a promise of hope?
Oh, wow.
Is it B, part of a Scandinavian culture, marks the beginning of the shortest days of sunlight during the winter?
Oh.
Blue skies become very rare until spring in late March.
Wow.
Or is it C, part of the late expansion of Christianity to the east? It's a very special Friday in Japan dedicated to Christmas shopping. Blue refers to the color of the Japanese 1,000 yen bill flying out of the wallets.
Oh, my gosh.
Damn. Okay.
Jeez.
Which one of those is that?
Only
Those
three
are
answers.
those
but
are
they're
three
solid.
fine
I know.
options.
God damn.
Well, there's three of us. We can each take
wow.
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
We one of us going to walk out of here a champion.
A.
Okay, you're taking
I'm taking A.
A feels like it's right.
Well, I've already
I
taken
want
it.
it to be the Scandinavian one. I'll go B. Leaving you with C, muchacho. If that's what you want, unless you feel
No,
better
no,
about
I'll
them.
go with C. I'll
feel-
go with
The
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 yen
longest
thing could add up. I mean,
Yeah.
I
the
don't know what
longest
color
night of
yen
the
is.
year feels very familiar for that part of December.
it.
I feel
is.
like
So
it
that's
is.
the winter solstice.
Yeah, yeah.
And like
Yeah.
the argument that it's a Scandinavian
But the winter,
I don't
but you know
know.
what? The winter solstice doesn't move. It's always December 22nd, I believe.
Well, she said this year it's a
Yeah,
certain
this
day.
year
No, but the
falls
longest-
on December 17th.
The longest night,
Well, that could.
like the solstice is a set day, but there's always like a longest day and longest night. That does change every
Does
year.
it?
I
Does
believe
it?
so.
I thought that's what the solstice
I
was.
thought that's what the solstice was.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that changes
feels
every
close enough that that would be a thing. You're certain it's the 22nd of every December?
I'm pretty sure it's the
It
20th.
doesn't move?
Because I remember that because when I was in Ireland, they do a thing for the winter solstice if you go to the The fucking thing.
Yeah, that
The
thing.
fucing thing.
With the shamrocks.
No,
and
I
the
told you
shake.
about it. Remember?
The Blarney Stone.
No, not the Blarney Stone.
The Stonehenge.
No, Jesus.
You're
You're making it harder for me to
McMullins.
Newgrange. Newgrange.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, I was not
Huge
coming up
dome.
with Newgrange.
It was
buddy.
built like 3,000 years before the pyramids.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it lines up. So on the winter solstice, like there's no sunlight in there.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about this.
and
Yeah.
for 15 minutes on the winter solstice, sun will shine all the way through.
Okay, and so that might indicate that
And
it's a specific
I'm pretty
day.
sure it's always the same day.
I'm
pretty sure it's
sticking a
always-
Scandinavian answer. You're not
Okay.
talking me
Oh,
off.
no, I've
on
already
that.
locked
That's
my
fine.
answer in.
Yeah, I'm locking in on.
I'm
So this
looking
is-
up. I'm looking up information on the winter solstice over here, but
Yeah.
my answer is
Okay.
Look
locked.
up the color of 1,000 yen. I want to know what
Oh,
the
yeah.
hell. That's going to be how we find this out. All right, scroll
Okay, here
down.
we
Tell
go.
us the answer here.
There we go. Got to highlight this. I like how she did this.
Yeah, so smart.
You highlight it, and then because it's highlighted in black.
That
oh,
way-
it's A.
Yeah.
It is about grieving
Hey.
those that you've lost.
It is.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Son of a.
Yeah.
The winter solstice marks the onset of winter at the time of the shortest day of the year, about December 22nd
Ah.
in the northern hemisphere.
Okay.
Ah.
So it is
Alright.
not about June 21st in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah,
so
it
it's
didn't
not
feel
always
like
the same
that
day.
could just be the same. Because I mean, you got leap year. Like, there's got to be some wobble. On
Yeah.
this.
All right.
And there's the wobble of the planet.
There's that.
There's literal wobble
There's a
as
literal
well.
wobble.
Bonus question: True or false?
Oh, right.
Oh, that's right.
Tokyo is closer to Las Vegas than Djibouti.
Is it the 1,000 yen bill? It is blue.
Oh, it is blue.
Hold on, I'm gonna look at my
Damn,
box.
she did some research.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't expect me to be holding a world map, did you, bitch? I got my game from my Christmas gift. Go to patreon.com/therapy. I have an advantage, gentlemen.
I
Wait,
don't
what
think
was-
you do it all.
What was
No,
the,
I actually have no idea where Djibouti is.
I
so
know you don't.
That
So
didn't
that
do me a
doesn't-
damn bit of good.
Okay.
I can
I was,
get
I was looking
Tokyo.
up the picture of the 1,000 yen bill. What was the question?
True or false? Tokyo is closer to Las Vegas than Djibouti.
Djibouti.
Then
I'm
wait,
gonna say true.
is closer to Las Vegas than it is to Djibouti, or it is closer to Las Vegas than Djibouti is to Las
It's
Vegas?
closer to Las. Oh shit! I read it wrong.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Oh shit!
She's saying Tokyo's closer
Tokyo
to us
is closer to Vegas
than it is to Djibouti.
Oh wait a minute.
Oh, this could go either way, guys.
Oh damn!
Honestly, I'm assuming Djibouiti's in Africa.
I'm saying true.
Africa is about halfway.
I'm saying true as well.
according
Yeah.
to this flat square map. Then the
But I do
Earth
think.
is pretty round, isn't it? All right, that's a
Yeah, I'm
problem.
going true.
Okay,
So for reference, Jim, because
Yeah.
I know this isn't going to help you at all.
no.
Djibouti borders Ethiopia and Somalia.
What is that? Yeah, is that Africa? Is that Asia?
Yeah, see? Exactly.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Exactly. Just true or false.
All
Just
right.
pick a.
On this map, Africa is this big yellow thing in the middle. Tokyo's green and it's on the right, and America's purple, it's on the left. I feel like Djibouti's probably, but then the Pacific's like really big. I'm gonna go with Djibouti's.
Fact.
Djibouti. I think it's Djibouti's closer to Las Vegas.
So you're saying true.
I guess whatever the answer.
So we're all
is,
saying true.
I guess so. Yeah, we're all banking on Djibouti.
We're all right.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Djibouti never let me down.
I'm looking at a globe now. I'm looking at a world map,
yeah.
and Tokyo is a lot closer to Las Vegas
Yeah.
than it is to Djibouti.
So wait, we were right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, I was saying Djibouti's closer to Las Vegas
Like,
than
there's-
Tokyo is.
There's all of Asia.
Oh, then you're wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks
I
for
like
being
being
honest.
right.
Oh.
Yeah, I figured because I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I don't think we're all saying the same thing. So she's saying Tokyo is closer to Djibouti than
no,
it is to
Tokyo's
No.
closer to Las Vegas
than it is to Djibouti.
than
Then
Djibouti
it is
close
to Djibouti. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I definitely thought the other thing. So I'm
Yeah.
wrong. I'm consistently wrong.
Cool.
But wait, who got the point on the first one? You did? No, he did. So
No.
he's got two.
So Jacob's got two.
and we're sitting around.
I've got
you got
one,
one,
and you
I
got
got
0.
I've got a solid deuce, gentlemen.
Yeah, that'll keep it going. Good questions, guys. If you want to submit your trivia to the show, podtherapyguys@gmail.com. Just organize it in such a way that we don't stumble across
Me
the
and
answers.
Mono, we're simpatico.
Yeah,
on,
you've
on-
got it.
on her
Yeah.
questions here.
Yeah, you usually see what she's trying to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas I get lost.
I
on
appreciate
words like
you, Mono.
I
Djibouti.
think she wrote these just for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
No, she wrote Djibouti because she knew I'd get distracted by that, and like A, she knew I didn't know where it was.
It doesn't
and
take
B,
much.
she picked Djibouti. Like she clearly picked the one that's gonna make me giggle like an idiot. So she knew what she was doing. She's hedging her
course.
bets. Ghosted by my therapist from Danielle. Hello, long-time listener, first-time writer. My brother introduced me to your show, and I absolutely love it. So thanks for doing what you guys do.
Thanks, brother.
Glad
That's
you and your
awesome.
brother are still speaking.
Yeah, somebody's out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll find out after this answer
That's
to this
true.
question. I'm writing because I was recently ghosted by my therapist. I was going through a hard time last year, and my brother recommended I join a well-known website for video therapy and even offered to pay for it. I took him up on his generous offer, and I got into therapy. My therapist and I initially met twice a week, and further down the road reduced it to once a week. She was insightful, kind, gentle, non-judgmental, and everything I would want in a therapist. Last Friday, a year after we began meeting, I logged in for my weekly appointment with her. We had confirmed the date and time at our last meeting, but weirdly, she didn't show up. After 20 minutes of waiting, I wrote to her to see if everything was okay. She never responded. I didn't hear from her all weekend. On Sunday evening, I finally decided to reach out to the website. When I opened the app, I had a message letting me know that my therapist was no longer on the platform and to please change to another therapist at my earliest convenience. I wrote to the website to let them know this happened and that it was awful for me to learn of my therapist's departure this way. The website responded apologizing, assuring me that their therapists are supposed to let their patients know they're leaving, and offered to refund my money. My question is, do I have a moral obligation to follow up on this? Is my therapist allowed to do this? I know it's not the same as a doctor walking out during surgery, but isn't this dangerous for patients? The poetic irony is that I was partially speaking to her about my abandonment issues. Any advice you guys have would be great. Thank you, Danielle, and the pronouns are she, her, and hers.
Thank you for that. We love being given pronouns.
It always helps.
So, Danielle, first off, you got an awesome brother.
Yeah.
Not only just because he,
listens to Pod Therapy.
pointed you to us,
Yeah.
but also to
Oh, there are other reasons?
encourage therapy and to offer to help
Even
pay for
scholarship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
just
awesome.
Quality,
it. So
sibling right there.
we should all be so lucky.
Nice guy.
Can we have your brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Who also listens to the show? Hey, you're a good dude.
If you want to buy anything for us,
Yeah.
feel free.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to give you a discount code to the merch store.
So hearing this, one of the questions that kind of popped into my head is like wanting to know a little bit more about the circumstances of the therapist's departure.
Right.
Because you are right to be very upset. That shouldn't ever happen. We have a code of ethics.
Right.
I feel like that's got to be in there.
I feel like it
hang
kind of
out.
matters.
Is there something? Is there a line in the code of ethics that's just like hang out?
Yeah.
Once
yeah,
you have a
I feel
patient,
like,
keep having that patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, every board is different.
Where
like
are
I
your
know.
ethics?
Oh, don't even start.
Here we go.
I know with the board that I'm affiliated with, like this is a big no-no. I mean, and they would they would I won't say punish, but they would do something. There would be some kind of consequence if you just ditched
Be a stern talking to
your clients. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also kind of want to know, like, what was the circumstances behind the therapist leaving? Because part of me, my original thought was, okay, so the therapist decided to quit this network, whatever they were a part
Right.
of. The other part of it too is we still don't know. Maybe the website decided
Right.
to let the therapist go, And then if you complain to the website, they're of course going to say,
Throw them under
"Oh
the
yeah,
bus.
the therapist, they should have done this."
Right. They're not going to give you the reasons.
Right. Yeah. They're not going to say, "Oh, we fired her," or "We let her go."
This is on us.
Yeah. They're not going to own up to that. So, I think as far as pursuing it a whole lot further, I don't know how much further you're going to go. It's going to be a lot of work, and I'm not sure you're really going to get any kind of result.
That's the thing. I don't think you're going to get anything out of it.
No, yeah, exactly. I think it's very unfortunate. It's really shitty that this happened.
Right.
You could write a letter to whatever therapy board is in your state, but I don't know if the state's going to have a whole lot of power over a national website because there's nothing they can do. A lot of these, like we learned in that episode, a lot of them are operating without a state license or state oversight anyway.
And they're running, fast and loose.
Yeah,
Just
so
offering to pay fines.
unfortunately, that's kind of the nature of this beast.
Yeah. It's a yucky one. So, full disclosure, when this writer wrote in, usually when we get letters, we get them, we put them into the queue, and then, sometimes we change the order they're going to come in based on themes or what we're doing in the show or if something seems, timely. This one I replied to.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I replied to the writer because when they wrote in, obviously I knew that their treatment had just been interrupted and they were very confused. They didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt for them because I had a suspicion that I knew why.
Oh,
And so I reached out to the writer and I said, I think I know why this happened. Can you please tell me who the company is? And so, to avoid any legal problems, I will not say the name of the company.
Walmart.
Yeah, let's call them Walmart.
Yeah,
that feels about
fuck
right.
them anyway.
Fuck Walmart. Fuck you in the neck, Walmart. Sorry, this is supposed to be a Christmas episode. I've gotten very foul-mouthed today for a Christmas episode. Sorry, everybody. All right.
Ho, ho, ho. Go fuck yourself. Episode title.
Episode title. Cookie roulette. So, all right. So Danielle wrote me back and said, hey, it's this company. And so I went ahead and looked up the terms and conditions because that company has sent me offers before and asked me to join. And so they have sent me access to their terms and conditions so that I can see the contract that a provider would have to sign with them. And just as I thought, the contract is very punitive.
This is exactly what my guess was about to be.
Yep.
Okay.
It's exactly what you think it is.
I'm so glad that this is it. Yeah.
So what I did is I went into the contract and I copied and pasted to Danielle the actual language. And I said, hey, this is what your therapist had to sign in order to go to this place and be a provider. And look at what they threatened to do to her if she ever contacts you off of their platform.
Oh.
And it's bad.
Yeah.
Like they will take your lunch money. It is not
This
okay.
is what I was guessing because
Yep.
like if they let her go or if she left under less than ideal circumstances and left, basically immediately
Yes.
with no notice on either end, however that worked, I'm betting that she's not legally allowed to talk to you.
Her hands are very tied.
Yeah.
Very tied.
Interesting.
And so it's a very tricky situation. So if you had a typical agency, right? You have APC company here in your home state and they have local therapists and it's a local leader who owns that company. I have therapists that work for me, with me. My patients that come to that clinic are my patients. These are my associates. They work under me, but I am the custodian of record for the files. And even if that patient has never met Jim and they've always known the associate, they're technically, by law, mine. And now if one of my associates were to need to leave or I needed to let them go, I would probably personally contact the patient because I'd feel the obligation. I'm the custodian of record.
Yeah.
It's my name on the house. I'm going to call them and go, hi, you may have never met me, but obviously you know who I am because, you're seeing
My
a
name's on the
therapist.
building.
My name's on the building, so you know who I am. And I would tell them, this person's
You're
no longer with me.
Jim Jobin?
Yeah. Oh, I've heard of you on all those signs. I've seen your name on all the bathroom stalls. Yeah, that was me. So,
You're one of the best of Las Vegas.
one of them, right? Oh, foreshadowing. Big heaping chunk of it. So, yeah. So if that were to happen in my world, I would call them and I would say, hey, I'm no longer with this person. And I would probably give them their options. If I was saying, hey, if you want to follow up with that person, I will have given that therapist personal permission because I have a contract with them that says they can't just leave and take their caseload. That's dangerous for a variety of reasons. It's dangerous because I can no longer oversee the work. People showed up with a therapist under my name. They believe that who I am is part of the value of who that therapist is. And so if that therapist ever goes rogue and just takes their whole caseload, A, that's dangerous for the patients because that's not what they signed up for originally. It's not even in their informed consent. And B, no business could ever continue to run.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, and so like big fat Walmart online company cannot continue to run if every time a therapist gets a full caseload, they just text everybody and go, hey, I'm leaving the platform, here's my Venmo.
Yeah.
And I'll send you my Zoom link. I have your information. So the company obviously needs to have a clause that basically lays this out. But the problem is it ties the hand of the therapist in this really strange way. If you're a local little agency like I am going to contact these humans. They are in my community, right? I'm going to make sure they're okay.
Now, hypothetically, let's say you had to fire one of your associates.
Right.
For something really bad, some
Right.
sort of negligence.
No.
Yeah.
You are going to
They
reach
murdered
out
a patient.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Let's dial it back. A little bit.
Yeah. They ran a red light.
They murdered a patient's family,
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. There you go.
Thanks.
but not the patient.
Yeah.
So obviously you are going to make contact with the patient, but you wouldn't advise the therapist
No.
to make contact.
I would probably tie the therapist's hands and say, per our agreement, you will no longer have contact with these patients.
Yeah,
Right.
because you have to make a
Right.
decision.
You're in damage control.
Now, here's
Yes.
where the ethical burden thing shows up. There is an ethical burden that somebody who's on the treatment squad needs to contact the patient proactively.
Yeah, and you have to
and give
coordinate
them the
care.
options and
You
say,
gotta- yeah.
you don't have to tell them what happened because I
Right.
won't do that. There's actually Nevada laws that would prevent me from telling the patient what happened. because you're not allowed to disparage another colleague. That's actually written into NRS, our legal codes.
Jim was trying to say disparage.
That one. That one. Whatever he says. The barge one. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that, I wouldn't do that, but somebody should ethically contact the patient and say, hey, we're not going to get into the details of why. This person's no longer affiliated with us. Here are your options. And one of those might be you can search them up on your own and follow up with them individually if that's what you prefer, or you can stick with us. We will assign you a new person, or we will give you leads in your community if that will help you.
Right.
But there is a burden on the provider team to do that work. So Walmart Online here didn't do that. And that's a huge F up on them. But what I wrote to Danielle was, if you read this code, you understand why your therapist didn't reach out.
Yeah.
And they can throw her under the bus. They can just go, oh, no, we're totally, I don't know why she didn't do that. Because, like, what are they going to say? Hey, we fucked up and we don't do a good job. Don't tell your friends. No, like, they're going to go, oh, no, gee, golly, we don't know what it is, right? And also, they're too big to have to manage that many cases. Like, they're just not going to do it.
Correct.
And their turnover of therapists is amazing. Like, this particular company also.
They are the massage envy of therapy companies.
There is a wonderful turnover of therapists. And so that's constantly happening with these companies, which is one of the things that makes these companies pretty difficult for people to reliably go to. Because if you're going to do some meaningful long-term work there, the therapist may bounce. So what I ended up writing to Danielle was that I gave her all the information. I said, you know what I would encourage you to do? Based on how complex this could have been, if you are able to look up your therapist, I think you should reach out to them individually. And so Danielle did. Danielle was able to look them up and was able to reach out to them. But Danielle, shared like, this still feels pretty icky. Like, I felt like we had something pretty personal. Even if there were contracts and stuff, I feel weird about this. I said, I totally hear you.
Fair.
But you have a huge investment and you were making real progress. And I want you to give them that extra benefit of the doubt. Reach out to them.
I don't care about giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I care about everything else you just said.
Do
exactly.
your work. Do your work.
You've already done this work and you've gotten to this point. There's no reason to take a step back if you don't have to.
Right.
And you might have to.
Right.
But you might contact this therapist and they might say, I don't practice anymore. The reason I'm out is because I quit. I quit practice.
I have a family problem. It could be anything.
But like in that case, you're gonna have to take a step backwards and find a new therapist and restart your work. But if you don't have to do that, then absolutely be selfish.
Yeah.
And just say like, hey, if you're still practicing,
be selfish. Get your health care.
We're doing some good work here.
And I get it. Therapy is one of the only fields of healthcare that has this personal element to it. Your primary doctor will have you waiting in the waiting room for 2.5 hours, and be snarky to you and not be kind, and you'll still recommend them to your friends because they gave you the script. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like at least
my
in the United
doctor's
States,
lovely.
Yeah, the healthcare standard and personality component is very needless in most disciplines, but in ours, it's everything. And so you could see, here's this human saying, like, I was doing great work, and then this happened, and that actually makes it that I'm unsure if I can continue my work, even if I could contact them. And so the other advice I had given to Danielle after we had clarified all that stuff is Danielle said, okay, maybe I'll reach out and ask why this happened. And I said, hey, let me offer you one more little tidbit. You can ask that, but if this was me, if I was your therapist, I might not be able to answer that because here's this other part of the contract that says it's an NDA. They can never say anything bad about this company. And if they say that to you in writing or otherwise, and then you're narking on them back to the company down the road, again, there are huge financial consequences.
And the thing about NDAs is they're not even necessarily if you say something bad about us.
Yeah, doesn't matter. If it has an
impact.
impact.
Talk about us.
Right.
If our name leaves your mouth.
Right. And so I advised the writer, I said, hey, maybe don't make that your priority. Like, if that's your truth and you need to write that, I understand. But let me at least tell you ahead of time, if she doesn't answer that, don't take it personally. Here's the contract.
Yeah.
So, it'd be great if you guys could reconnect and get to a place where you say, okay, now I understand why this happened. Yeah. Or at least, can we get beyond it?
I understand that something happened and I'm willing to accept that.
And that's a huge victory, really. Yeah. If that's what's possible. But it was a damn good question. And luckily, we did sort it out. It did have a happy ending. She did find her way into care, which is great, but it's a thing, and that's the thing I think that so one of the things that we do on the show is we're constantly preaching the good news of it's okay to go get therapy. Don't let any boundary stop, right? Don't let an obstacle get in your way. Here's all the ways to navigate it. But if we're being real, there are hazards to therapy. And one of them is this. One of them is that you could get linked up with a student, you could get linked up with an intern, you could get linked up with somebody at an agency, and agencies constantly are shuffling staff.
To be
You could
clear,
fall in love.
You could fall in love.
to be clear, having an intern isn't necessarily just a bad thing.
No.
I want to make
what
sure.
What
that
I mean
that's
is longevity. So
Right.
there could, I mean, interns don't have to stop practicing at any
Right.
point, really. Students do. You know, students can say, you know, my student internship is up now. I'm leaving this clinic, right?
Mhm.
And interns are often in that first phase of their career where they are often clinic jumping and getting experiences at different places. And like I said, if you leave my clinic, if either of my associates leave my clinic, I reserve the right to tell them I am going to try to find a new therapist to serve this patient load. And those, you know, me personally, because I'm such a small, you know, group, I would probably just talk to the patients and give them the freedom to choose. I don't care, you know. But if you're a big company, as a lot of companies are that interns work for, interns shuffle through the system. So there is this risk, but I would argue this. That doesn't mean don't get started.
Mhm.
Because even if Danielle had never gotten in touch with this therapist ever again, Danielle did meaningful work. And at least that reveals that meaningful work is possible.
Right.
And that can be done with other professionals. Professionals are qualified to serve. None of them will be identical, but each person that you meet in life has a different piece of the puzzle in a pocket for you. And so you got to approach it with that mentality. Open-minded, open-spirited, see where it takes you. But that's what's important here.
It's so rare that we get a letter, our advice, and an update all in the same.
I know, right? Yeah, tie a
Yeah.
bow. Tie a bow around it. It all worked out.
All right.
But a really good one, though.
Good one.
Yeah, it was a really good one. So, and that doesn't mean don't go to the Walmart of mental health online company. There is value to that. Danielle had value.
I
in
definitely wouldn't go to Walmart
that. Don't go to Walmart. Yeah,
Don't
they're-
go to actual
for
Walmart.
Don't
for
go to
therapy.
actual Walmart
For therapy.
They
Don't-
haven't opened up their therapy clinic yet.
Right.
They have every other damn thing though, don't they? Pharmacies and
I would bet money
healthcare.
that there's a Walmart in this country
that has
that
a
has a
clinic.
mental health care
Yeah.
clinic in
They were
it.
talking about putting them into Walgreens.
I think they
therefore.
won Best of Las Vegas.
Probably
Oh God, here
Yeah.
we go. We are going to take another
Which
quick
really
break.
kicks Jim back on those numbers because there are a lot of people that work for Walmart.
When we come back, we're talking about an anti-vax parent. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, and Ben Stanley. If you'd like to become a therapy producer, go to patreon.com/therapy and sign up. Our second trivia question today is: Coronation Street is the world's longest running television soap opera, airing 6 times a week on the British TV channel ITV, legally known as Channel 3.
Huh.
When was the first episode of the series broadcast?
Okay, hold on. Before you give the options, there are options, right? It's multiple
Yes,
choice.
yes. No. You just
gotta
need to
know.
I think we should Price is Right it.
How many options are there?
4.
Take it C.
You're
Jim,
coming in blind on this
Jim,
one?
what do you
Going in
want?
blind.
Can I just pick a number instead of a letter?
Yeah.
I feel better about that.
yeah.
It's the
Pick
longest running
a
TV
number
show
between 1 and 4.
in history. It's the longest running TV show.
Yes.
Well, it's got to be. I'm gonna pick-
Okay, A is December 9th, 1974. B, December 9th, 1968. C, December 9th, 1960.
I feel good about it.
D, December 9th, 1981.
Okay, so I'm glad you read those because I was going to say.
Oh, really? That
1800
made a difference?
I was going to say like
18
1876.
TV?
Well, when I hit longest running, I just assume it means
TV.
as long as there's been a TV somewhere.
TV.
In 18 what?
I don't know, man. They had like Morse code and shit back then. Like maybe that's part
What
of it.
part of Morse code is TV?
I don't know what the science is.
In
I'm just
your
saying.
mind, when did TV come in? to
When was
existence?
TV invented?
I'm gonna say 1900. I mean, I was off by a little.
You
1927.
were saying 1800s.
A little
That's-
off. I said I was a little
Okay.
off. I was a little
Okay.
off.
Lincoln didn't watch TV.
As far as you know. As far as you know.
There's a
Okay.
whole movie about him killing vampires.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I'm gonna go.
Long as running.
I'm gonna go 1968. So I'm taking B.
I didn't even listen to the answers.
I feel like it's got to be in the 80s.
You have 1960.
I'll take
Right.
the 80s.
You've got the oldest one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Boy,
You're
that
gonna take
can't-
81?
That can't be possible. That's so long. It's probably the 80s.
Okay, so you're taking 81.
Yeah.
All
Now
right.
that I've ruled out the 1800s.
Well, let's zoom on down.
Come on, C.
Answer
Come on,
Big money.
C.
Big money. Big money. No whammy. No whammy.
You got 25%.
C.
Oh,
damn
it. Oh. Yeah!
Oh.
Just been
We
like
can't catch him now. Jacob just got up and ran around the studio, taking his customary victory lap, as he does every time he has pulled away, and it's impossible for us
Damn.
to catch him now. So he's
got
at 3 points.
3-1 to 0 lead.
Yeah, we have no chance.
Bonus question.
He's got it.
True or
Sinks
false?
the putt.
True or false?
And he did it blind. You should really get double for that.
Agreed.
If you shoot blind, that's double the point.
I think I get Jim's Christmas presents for
I think
that.
that's probably true. It should be like Jeopardy, where it's like you risked your other points bidding blind, and now you just get those back. That's
Okay.
fair.
True or false? The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is a country.
True.
Wow. Oh, wow. I mean, the United States is a country. Is
Good.
Do you think that's how
That's
that
also
works?
true.
Do you think that's how it works? Or do you think it's more like the EU? Because, like, the European Union's not a country, but Europe is. No, Europe's not. Is Europe a country? Is Europe a... No. I would like to retract my previous observation.
Europe is not a country.
Okay. I'm going with no. I don't think it's a country. Because I think it's going to be similar to the European Union. Some things sound like a country,
Nick,
man.
what's your answer?
Europe
My
sounds
answer
like a
is
country.
true.
It's definitely true.
The thing that throws me off is the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, which Northern Ireland
No,
is
those
part of the
are
United Kingdom.
countries.
No, the United Kingdom
They have their own
is made up
flags.
of England and Northern Ireland.
They are their own countries. And then they are part of an association called the United Kingdom.
Northern Ireland has been fighting to not to be its own country for a long time.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
probably pretty relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a
Yeah,
relevant
it
component
kind
to
of
this.
debases the entire statement you just made.
Yeah. Shit. All right, what is it?
Well, I said true.
I'm
You
saying
said
false.
True. You're saying false.
It's not a country.
You're sticking with it.
I'm sticking that it's an alliance. It's some kind of legal construct.
No one has ever said that Jim does not have stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, no. I followed through in the wrong direction, but I hit the gas.
You'll love her answer. Her answer is true. I just wanted to see if you guys would overthink this.
Well, Jim did.
Thanks, Manu. Dude, Manu is in my head. Like,
Yeah.
this woman probably wrote out every word that I just said. She probably knew I was going to say every
So-
single word.
I had and this kind of takes us back to the episode where your mom was on,
Yeah.
because she made a point, which I respectfully disagree with.
Okay.
Why would you need to learn anything that you could look up?
Einstein, baby.
Yeah, and Einstein, I'm pretty sure if we asked Einstein, is Indiana a coastal country, he would say, "Oh, this is what we're talking about."
Yeah.
No, you should learn this.
There's some things that you didn't need to write
I'm pretty
down.
sure he'd be on our side on
Also,
this one.
because we've all
But-
agreed it is coastal. It's been discussed and I think
Anyway.
resolved
So I was when I was a psychology
as a
student.
coastline.
I was in my sophomore year
Coast
as
Guard are
a
also
psychology
stationed
student in college, and I was bitching to one of my psychology professors about how stupid it is we have to do all these general electives.
Yes.
I was like, I want to take more of the psych courses, but I can't because I got all these gen ed classes I need to
Right.
take. It's so dumb. It's such a waste of time that we have to do this. And he told me, he's like, no, he's like, Nick, you're missing the point. He said, when you leave here with a degree from the University of Northern Iowa, you need to understand that everything that you say and do publicly and professionally has our stamp on it.
Uh-huh.
These gen eds are put into place so you don't embarrass us at a cocktail party.
Oh, okay. Or a podcast.
Yeah.
That you're at. Yeah.
Podcast didn't exist then.
There was
otherwise
no
he would've said
geography class in college. Okay. Maybe there is.
Keep in
I didn't
mind-
take it.
that. Yeah,
Jim
there
took all of
definitely
his
is.
gen ed classes at Liberty University.
Yeah.
Mhm. And they really got in the way of my theology classes.
Yeah.
Where the real learning happened.
All right.
Whatever. Damn it.
4 for 4.
Nail it.
One of them blind.
God.
Sweet.
It's just
Oh, I feel
crushing it.
good today.
In the
Sometimes you
zone.
got it, man. That's right. He's in the zone. Pass
Nothing
him the
but
rock.
net all night.
Just keep feeding him the rock. He can't miss.
Next show, we're betting PhDs.
Oh no, we're betting pinks. All right, next question. Anti-vax parent. Hey guys, I have a wonky situation that I can't seem to find a solution to, and I'm hoping you guys can shed some wisdom on it. For some background, my mother is a pretty passionate conspiracy believer. She usually focuses on one topic at a time, i.e., flat Earth, fake moon landing, lizard overlords, etc., which usually follows whatever she can find on her media of choice. which with recent events, she has become more focused on being anti-vax, being especially against/afraid of the COVID vaccine, aka the jab. She constantly sends me links to videos or articles that expose the truth behind the COVID vaccine, and she is fully convinced that I would die if I were to get the vaccine. Since she is so outspoken and set in her beliefs, I have played along with what she tells me, at least for the last year or so. My fiancé and I are fully vaccinated, but I can't tell my mother without risking a mental breakdown since, in her eyes, we would definitely be dead whenever Bill Gates felt like hitting the kill switch. I always like when it comes back to Bill. Bill's like a really good guy, but trying to murder everybody.
Okay, but you have to appreciate the fact that Microsoft makes a ton of money off dead people.
That's true.
No one buys more Microsoft products than dead people.
That stock price goes way up.
Yeah.
Every time there's mass casualties, Gates
Yeah,
just jingle in the pocket, baby. It's always the Gates. This brings me to the main conundrum. My fiancé and I are expecting a baby in a couple of months. We've decided that for anyone to see the baby, they will need to have the COVID, flu, and whooping cough vaccines. However, we have no idea how to announce this without throwing my mother into a mental tailspin. Weirdly, she got the whooping cough vaccine without argument when she was told by her doctor that the hospital wouldn't let her see the baby without it. However, the COVID and flu vaccines are the main vaccines she's afraid of. She has already sent me proof that the flu vaccine contains brain poisons. How do I tell my mother we're requiring these vaccines? How do I tell her we're already vaccinated? Any help or advice is appreciated. Josh.
I've got great news for you, Josh, because I've got an easy answer.
What is it?
You explain to your mother that the vaccine does not get injected into the brain.
Oh, that helps. Yeah.
Done and done.
Yeah. Not a lot of brain poison.
Who cares if it is brain poison?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't get
It's not
to
going
it.
into the brain.
There's the blood-brain barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing fine.
Another conspiracy cooked up by the Gates family. God, everywhere, man.
I don't even know where to start with this one.
Yeah, it's a
It's
very
so
hard
frustrating.
question.
You know, I guess
That's all the time we have this week.
Bail out! Bail out!
So I work at a university. Our program is in the School of Community Health Sciences. Okay, so the dean of our college, pretty much, she actually just recently retired, but she made a name for herself. She's an epidemiologist.
Oh, okay.
She kind of became pretty popular, famous in her field, studying the AIDS and HIV epidemic
Okay.
in the late 80s and 90s.
Hmm.
Okay, so between her and a lot of the other folks in the department who are also epidemiologists, they're all vaccinated.
Right.
Right. And that's the thing that I always try to remember. Like, you know, people will ask,
yeah.
you know, my opinion is like, well, my opinion's worthless, you know, because
Right.
I'm a social worker.
What do I know?
However, these people know.
Yeah.
And when it comes to protecting themselves and their families, they're all vaccinated,
Right.
you know? And that's kind of the thing I always try to remind people. Like, if I'm, okay, going back to Boy Scouts,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've talked about this quite a bit. What your son will learn when he's learning about all these different animals and hiking stuff,
Yeah.
there's certain animals, when you come across them, you need to be aware of what the animal is because it will determine how you react.
Sure.
Because there are some animals you want to play dead.
Yeah.
There are some you just have to turn and run.
Right. And if
And
you
there-
get those two confused,
And there are
it
some,
will cost you something.
and there are
Yeah.
some where you have to establish dominance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to get those mixed up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If and to you know,
For instance, if you see a lizard,
Yeah.
you want to establish dominance immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You run at
You
that
make
thing.
yourself really big,
Big.
and
Yeah.
you yell as
Yeah.
loud
Yeah.
as you can.
Yeah. that'll
Anytime
scare
you
it
see
off.
a lizard.
that and a
Always.
grizzly bear. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if that lizard
Uh,
is rattling at you. You just run right at it and sweep it.
Yes.
Sweep the legs.
But like,
Leg?
I think
Is that-
about this
is it
because
leg?
I've forgotten which animals you do which, right?
Okay.
But I imagine, like, if I'm out hiking with a bunch of mountain lion experts,
Yeah.
Right.
and we come across a mountain lion,
Okay.
I don't need to know what to do, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna watch them and I'm gonna do whatever they
Do
do,
what they do.
No.
Yeah.
right? And
Why
that's
would I
kind
need
of
to know something that I could look up?
exactly.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
I'm glad you thought of that.
That came full circle. Thank you, Jacob.
But like, I'm glad. But here's the thing. Like, it's kind of the same thing here. Like, no one expects me to become an expert in epidemiology,
right.
or viruses or anything like
Right.
that. But there are people who are. That has been their life's work. And when it comes down to, listening to what they say,
Right.
if you don't feel comfortable listening to what they say, just do what they do, because they're
Right.
going to protect themselves just like they're going to protect
Right.
they care about themselves. They don't want to die either.
Yeah.
So find me an epidemiologist that isn't vaccinated,
Right.
because you can find doctors that aren't.
Yeah.
But when you do look into them a a bit,
Right.
they're always like
the
chiropractors
experts.
or
Yeah.
dentists or something
Or
like
Senator
that.
Rand Paul, who's
Yeah.
an ophthalmologist.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
But
Who's still
find-
vaccinated, by the way.
if every single epidemiologist is vaccinated, that's all
Right.
you need to know. Like,
right.
if I'm living in the Midwest and every meteorologist in a 200-mile area
Yeah.
runs to the grocery store and buys 2 weeks worth of groceries,
Yeah. Do that.
I'm doing that.
Yeah. Follow the crowd. Yeah. But I think that this is, the writer's problem. I mean, for Josh, it's like, yeah, you're preaching to the converted. Whenever you're talking to somebody that's at this level of a conspiracy theory, this is very similar, I think, to religion. It has that same kind of vibe to it.
I think if he were able to come up with an article,
Yeah.
maybe write one yourself,
Okay.
that says that JFK Jr.
Right, got
is
vaccinated.
vaccinated.
Yeah. Lizard
I
people
think-
announced they've now released the real vaccine.
Right.
The first one was the brain poison. And then just email that in a chain
Fight
email.
fire with
Yeah,
fire.
just get that out there to your entire contact list. Let it get forwarded enough times till it trickles back in to mom's inbox. Just say,
Right.
great news, everybody. Bill Gates has announced he's a lizard person.
I think there's truly a pretty good answer here.
Okay.
And that is, the doctor has already told your mom she can't see the baby without the whooping cough
And
vaccine.
She got it. Yep.
And she got it.
Yep.
I think you just go to the doctor, same doctor, and say, what about COVID
Yeah.
and flu?
Yeah.
Flu is, I don't know, maybe you'd be a little more flexible if she doesn't get the flu vaccine. I think
Yeah.
I would be,
Mhm.
but I mean, I don't know you. I'm not telling you your business here.
Yeah.
But I think you can go to that doctor and just say, I don't feel comfortable with non-vaccinated people being around my children.
Right.
Would you be willing to tell my mother that you would back that? Or perhaps just being part of me telling my mother that.
Yeah. I think I take the path that kind of, it's a little different answer than I think of either Nick or Jacob. I think they're offering you potential ways to be persuasive and get mom to take the shot. I'm going to go the other way with it, which is why I compare it to religion. Let's assume a universe where that's never going to happen.
Okay.
Let's just assume a universe where
She's not getting vaccinated.
the hard reality is she is not going to get vaccinated and she will flip out when she finds out that you are and that you require this. From that angle, when I hear you asking this question of like, so Jim, what can I say to her? What can I do? In that kind of reality, it's really more about like breaking it to a person. I don't think it's so much about trying to find the persuasive hook.
Yeah.
I think it's really sitting them down and almost in a grieving way. And I actually think this is very genuine and very beautiful. And I think it's actually very persuasive in and of itself, in a very sincere and almost grieving way to tell somebody, I'm sorry that this frightens you so much. And I'm sorry that you are convinced of this. But this is my requirement. And when our child is born, you will not know him. You will not see him. You will not hold him. You can use technology to interact with us as much as you want.
Yep.
But until this has been met sincerely and not fraudulently, I am going to draw this line because this is my child. I have to make these decisions. And I don't think you'd respect me as a parent if I didn't follow what I really with all my heart believed is true. You have what you believe with all your heart is true. I respect that you're living consistently with that. I hope you'll respect me for living consistently with what I believe and protecting my child to the best of my knowledge and the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And they may flip out anyway.
Oh, she's going to.
Yeah.
That's
going to
That's
happen.
just going to happen.
And, that's why I almost like the position of I'm sorry. And whenever they do flip out, like that's whenever you starting to pivot to boundaries and saying things like, I love you, but we're now creating a little bit of a partition here. So I wish there was a persuasive element. I wish that Nick's run with the herd, argument would work. I wish that Jacob's, the same doctor you took advice A on perhaps can give you better advice for B and C. And if you believe them on whooping cough or were comfortable with a requirement there, maybe you'll be comfortable with COVID and flu. But if it's not, Josh, then I don't know that there's one weird hack to this. I think you're really going to have to confront somebody.
I don't think it's going to be pleasant no matter what.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
It's not going to be pleasant or easy.
I think it's going to be, at the same level as somebody who's, kind of like dealing with somebody in a cult, or something to that effect, where you're saying, I can no longer, allow this, like I'm taking a step back, or confronting an alcoholic or confronting somebody that's addicted to something and saying, I am not going to allow, this is my boundary, right? Whatever that boundary looks like, this is it. And obviously this is a serious one because you're telling them, hey, this is a life and death virus. Whatever you and I both think the solutions are to that, I'm going with my pediatrician. And my pediatrician advises me. And by the way, that is a very persuasive argument to a lot of people. Like a lot of the getting children vaxxed debate, for a lot of families where that has been debated, I have witnessed that debate go away when they go talk to their pediatrician. Because most families are generally looking their pediatrician in the eye and generally trust them. And when that pediatrician's like, hey, I know your kid, I've done the science, I'm doing this, and I want other people to do it. Okay, like a lot of times very persuasive. So that can be an argument, Josh, is, hey, Mom, my pediatrician is going to make the decisions on this. They are worried for whooping cough, flu, and COVID, and the pediatrician has told me the best practice is this. I respect that you're not going to do that, but you need to respect that every choice has consequences. Just like I've argued in the show before where people are like, oh, I'm not going to get the shot if my job requires it. Okay, take your medicine though. Like the metaphorical medicine. Like, since you're not going to take the shot on principle or whatever your belief is, you will lose your job. And they have the right to do that because they're also being consistent with their principles too. So don't act like you're a victim. Like everybody's following their principles. If you're justified following yours, they're justified following theirs. Mm-hmm. And everybody's a good person here. Same thing here, Josh, telling them, hey, I'm sorry that this is the reality. I'm not doing this to you. I'm telling you this, and you're choosing this outcome.
Oh, and I do think, make sure to make it clear that you are not doing this because of her.
No.
This is not because of your mother.
Yeah.
This is
pediatrician
this is
recommended.
Yeah, and it is affecting her. Yes. But it is not. You're not doing this to get her.
That's it. It's not.
I think really stress that and make that. I would make that really clear.
Yeah, I wouldn't even take the bait of debating the conspiratorial component.
No.
I would love to just dodge that and keep it as simple as pediatrician recommends this. This is going to be the standard that we have, and if that does not include you, this is fair warning.
I am already vaccinated. The mother is already vaccinated. Like
that's the deal.
Everybody who is going to be around the child is vaccinated.
Yep. And pediatrician has told me one day this might not matter anneanymore, and I will check in with pediatrician. And when they say it no longer matters, vaccines don't matter anymore.
You're in.
Poison killed everybody, and all the survivors are here. Great. We'll call you back.
When that day happens, you're back in.
Yep. And that's not personal.
Yeah.
And you're also not judging them. Also, the best argument I've heard against why it's definitely not going to be the vaccine that kills you and I was from Bill Burr, who said, I like the argument that the sheeple, the compliant ones who do whatever people say, are the ones the overlords want to kill. Don't they want to kill you? You're a maverick. You're the one who doesn't listen to them. Yeah. You're the one that sees through the fucking, smoke.
Pretty fair point.
Like, I'm an idiot. I'm the guy that lined up and took the jab. Like, why are they going to kill me? I do whatever they want. I'm buying windows. Bill likes me. Yeah. And I take the shot Bill told me to take. It's cool. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, if all else fails, I think you just need to let your mom know that recent research has found that QAnon had been infiltrated by the Legion of Doom a long time ago.
That's all been a hoax. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So I'm telling you that forwarded chainmail email that circles its way back around to Mom, that's the win. That's there's no way that double crosses. It just can't come from you. It's got to come from some weird ass website. So hard one, Josh. You're not the only one dealing with it, but you know what, brother? Last word from me as a father myself, and I'm not sure if this is your first child or a new one for your family. Protect your kids, man.
Oh, and congratulations.
Congratulations, absolutely, but never, ever, ever apologize for protecting your children. You have one job, and at the end of the day, I will stand up to everybody on heaven and earth, my own family included, and say, nope, I'm drawing the line. This child doesn't have a vote. I am their shield, and you have that moral and ethical responsibility, Josh. Protect your kid, even if it's against your mother, even if it causes her to cry a million tears, even if she calls you every name in the book. You don't have a choice, buddy. Protect your child. This is a pandemic. Hundreds of thousands of people have died, millions of people around the world. So protect your child. Bottom line.
Yep.
Great questions, guys. And hopefully, as you guys are entering into the holiday season and looking around for places to throw your extra money, why not come down to patreon.com/therapy and get some yucks from Jim and the boys and a good time. Sign up. As did
Jim
our
and
newest...
the Boys, is that what we are now?
Oh, that's our new band name. Wait, what was the other band name that you wanted to call?
Something sugar cookie.
Oh, it was
wasn't
really good.
Fish
Mustard?
sugar cookie.
No, seafood
Seafood,
sugar,
yeah,
sugar
seafood
cookie.
sugar
That was
cookie.
it.
Oh, that's the
Seafood
name of
sugar
our band for sure. Yeah. And cookie roulette. I really like that. Or mustard sugar cookie now.
I should actually make some T-shirts.
Seafood sugar cookie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that
As
just
if it were a real
that
band.
art draws
Put that
itself.
up on the
Yeah. Just
in
our
the
fictional
store.
band. Yeah, that we should just go with.
Seafood
And one day
sugar
we'll just
cookie.
like play covers at a bar somewhere. Like, what the fuck? Seafood sugar cookie? if anybody's ever putting together some meta list of pod therapy trivia, I hope that's somewhere in that list, like deep cut, that like when we're at episode 500 there's gonna be some fan who's like, name Jim and Nick's fictional band.
Feel free to not do that. Feel free to not put that list together.
Seafood sugar cookie. Well, we have a new Therapal to announce. Welcome, Brooklyn Frolic.
I was going to say Vrolic.
I feel like we're both right.
I think so.
Brooklyn we got, though.
And
Or Brooklion.
we have
Mm-hmm.
a new Thera producer.
Dun, 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 dun.
Sammy Scoop, welcome.
Sammy Scoop, hell yeah. Got a new boss in the building. Those Thera producer spots are opened at patreon.com/therapy.
And we especially want to thank our bosses, the Saccharine 16 and mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of our fan club, the Thera producers. Thank you, Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Kayla Lansbury, Judy Schneider, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, King of Student Loan Debt, Dr. Ben Dawn, Crazy Manana Scoop, Mason Miller, Carolyn Albert, Leon Kassab, Kevin Chamberlain, Malaya, Richard Macy, Cindy Ash, Newstick, First of Name, Breather of Fire, Dumb of Ass, Lord Colin Stewart, Dirty B, Ben Stanley, and now Sammy Scoop.
Welcome, Sammy Scoop.
Now with extra Sammy Scoop.
extra seafood sugar cookie. If you'd like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
And why wouldn't
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go down to patreon.com/therapy, and thank you for supporting mental health. That's all the time we got for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast. And thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today, we really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Share this episode with someone who needs it by opening the episode's description in your podcast app and copying and pasting that link we provided into your social media. Don't forget, you can find us at facebook.com/podtherapy, on Twitter at PodTherapyGuys, on Instagram at PodTherapyGuys, and at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Jim Jobin.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
Seafood sugar cookie. God, that sounds awful, doesn't it? There's no right way to do that. Like, I'm trying to think of something that could redeem the sugar cookie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing.
Don't knock it till you try it.
That's true.
Well, we got important stuff to talk about in the next episode.
Oh, God. It's
So,
coming.
goodbye for now.
Nick and I both have news?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I have none. Goodbye.
Bye.